Well, we're here. It's taken me some time to want to make this video about my kundalini or my spiritual awakening. And it's hard for me to put into words still about my experience. It was so profound and quite painful. There's a dog hair there. Let's get rid of that. It was so profound, yet quite painful. Mine started back in 2020. And what happened was COVID started. I had, just to give you a bit of a background story, I had a successful business, had lots of friends, was really close to my family, still really close to my family. And COVID hit. So I had my own makeup business and we had to stop that for obvious reasons, because of COVID reasons. And yeah, I also ended a 9-year relationship, and I was at my parents', living at my parents', and all hell broke loose. Let's just put it that way. All hell broke loose. I was at home every day, as like most of you were. I was grieving the life I thought I was going to have with this person that I'd ended the relationship with for 9 years. I had to go through, I ended up turning to alcohol addiction. Issues arised. So from 2020, my life started falling apart. And little did I know it was actually a spiritual awakening. And it was all leading to this moment right here, right now. And I was I like to say, 3-dimensional. I was very egotistical, very materialistic driven, cared heaps about how I looked, how much money I earned, all that sort of stuff. So when I fell into addiction, I was in and out of rehab a few times, and the second time around, I met my twin flame. Sorry, my video cut out. So the second time round that I went to rehab, I met someone. I wasn't expecting to meet anyone. I wasn't going in there to meet anyone. The universe just aligned us to meet. And a couple of years later, figured out that he was my twin flame. For those of you who don't know what a twin flame is, it's one soul cut into two separate bodies. One's a divine masculine, one's a divine feminine. And when you unite, it's the divine feminine and masculine working harmoniously. But before my spiritual awakening, my kundalini awakening or my kundalini activation, there was a lot of trauma. I had my son in the midst of all this, with my twin flame. There were drugs involved there after the pregnancy. There was alcoholism, there was abuse, there were situations that I never thought I'd be in. And it quite literally broke my soul, to the point one day, back in 2024, February, I got my son taken off me and I was arrested in the space of 5 minutes. This completely finished me off. And what happened that day was something I'd never experienced internally. And it was so profound that I can remember it like yesterday. It was what it felt like, a nuclear bomb going off inside me. And it's almost like every belief system, everything that I once knew and loved had completely shattered away. And I remember getting home after being at the police station and feeling nothing. Absolutely nothing. And when I say nothing, even that is something. There was just nothing. No life, no time, no space. Nothing. It was like hell, but worse. I had hit my complete and utter rock bottom. And the only way I can describe it is if you get an elastic band and you stretch it down as far as it can go, and then you let go of it and it snaps back up and it just goes. That's what happened to me spiritually. I all of a sudden had this massive kundalini activation, and the following 2 weeks, specifically 2 weeks after that, the things that I experienced was just so profound and unlike anything that I could have ever imagined or perceived. It was just magical and mystical and I was full of life, because the kundalini energy is the life force energy that lives within all of us. And so what followed after that was, all of a sudden I was doing numerology. I started gaining psychic abilities. I was reading people's energies to the point I was basically reading their thoughts. I could see into the future. I could see timelines just by people's small movements and decisions and choices that they would make. I could literally tell them what was going to happen. I've never been by any means a psychic. I've never really had psychic abilities, other than the fact I've always just had kind of deep inner knowings and things like that. And then I had this go on for months, to the point it went too far for me. It was a very spontaneous kundalini activation, so I had no idea what was going on. The veil lifted for me and I didn't know what to do with it. I saw the world in a different way. It was a whole perspective change. I did a 360 with my perspective of the world. All the matrix and everything, like everything lifted, everything broke away, and I was open, I was vulnerable, I was having a rebirth. Quite literally a rebirth. I am not the same person as I once was. I am not the same person as I once was. I it got so, I got so high. My vibration got so high so quickly that my body was finding it really hard to catch up. My light body activation was quite, I was vibrating very, very, very high. So my light body had activated. My physical body was finding it very hard to catch up to. So my brain was just like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Like extremely foreign. And then a few months in, I was put in a psych ward. And in that psych ward, I had so many moments of ahas, so many breakthroughs. I had an I am moment where I believed I was a part of everything and everything was a part of me. And there's a lot to this story. But when I figured out, like finally, who my partner was to me, my twin flame, my heart chakra bursted. It bursted open. And I was crying, and I was not sad crying, I was relief crying. It was like releasing all this trauma and emotion that's been built up over years and years and years. And I became a new, more improved version of myself. I was purifying. I was purifying myself from addiction. There were drugs being used at the time, and I know that people go, oh, but you know, maybe you were in a psychosis. No, I was not in psychosis. I have done a lot of research ever since this has happened to me, or happened for me. And there were a few moments where I nearly went into psychosis, and the second I doubted myself that what was happening to me was real, the second I doubted myself that it was all real, was the minute I started going into psychosis and started to go what felt like clinically insane. So as long as I trusted what was happening, I was fine. I was physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually fine. I don't know if this is something that has happened to a few people, but I lost a lot of weight. I don't know. I think a lot of the adrenaline that was pumping through my body was just eating my weight away. And I became extremely skinny, to the point it was quite unhealthy looking. I'm not sure what the go is with that, but I have spoken to a few people who have had the same thing. So maybe if anyone has had a similar experience, to shed some light on that, because it didn't matter what I ate, I would just drop the weight, drop the weight, drop the weight, drop the weight. And it felt like it was almost eating me. And then I was having all these downloads, these spiritual downloads, this information overload. I was writing on my mirrors, my shower screens. I was putting together like what my mission in life was down on paper, because I just had all these things coming in. It was like my mind was so open, my crown chakra was so open that I just didn't know what to do with it all. So I had to write it down to get it out and to connect the dots and go, okay, that makes sense. That goes with this, that goes with that. And I had many, many, many breakthroughs. There's a lot more to this story, but I only have time for a little bit of a share right now. If you're interested to know more, let me know, because it's very mystical, very spiritual, very purifying, very, very profound. And it changed me. It changed me for the better. I call myself Beth 2.0 now because I have so much more knowledge and wisdom than I'd ever had before. I don't claim to know everything, but I know a lot more than I did. And there's things that I know that I have no idea how that I know. They're just these deep knowings. But I'll leave it there for now. I'm going to make another video of some of the profound experiences where, like, I experienced heaven on earth, hell on earth. Yeah. So there's the start of what my spiritual or kundalini awakening was. Thanks, guys.